hate tiny parties. They force one into constant exertion. I squint, searching for my memories for familiar words. Did you just Jane Austen me? Her dark eyes twinkle. Who's the literary nerd, the quoter or the one who recognizes the quote? That's a good question.
It is a good question. And it was a good moment between two friends.
Oh.
As this, too, is a moment between two friends.
Meta.
And a moment with you. Greetings and welcome to the We Read Books podcast.
Woo, woo, woo.
Here we read books and then we talk about them with each other for our own entertainment and hopefully for yours as well.
That's what we're here for.
Yep. If you like books and you like talking about books or listening to people talk about books, you are in the right place.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. And that is Mad.
And that's Whit.
Woo.
And we are your hosts.
I say with the most, but I don't know what I have to offer you other than my thoughts on books.
We have some socials that you should check out.
Absolutely.
Instagram at We Read Books Pod, TikTok at We Read Books Pod, email wereadbookspod23@gmail.com.
Email us.
Hit us up.
If you did not listen to the synopsis, I begged is a strong word, but I implored you listeners out there to please email us if you would like to.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to hear from you.
We would.
As long as you're nice. If you're mean, no thank you.
Yeah. And also, I think you should probably know from the title, but this week we're talking about Legendborn.
Yeah.
And this is our 11th book. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like we are still on our third one.
I know every time I edit and we post a new episode, I'm just like astonished. I'm like, wow, we're this many episodes in now?
I know. It feels very weird.
It does.
But, that's what happens.
Yeah.
When you keep doing something. It stacks up.
I'm proud of us for keeping after it.
Me too. Look at us.
Yeah.
We've breached 10 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Dorian Gray was technically our 10th episode because we had Discovery of Witches was in 2 episodes.
And we had a movie episode in there.
Yes. And then this one is our second one that is in 2 episodes.
Right.
We're still figuring out how we want to do this. Our episodes are getting longer because the books have been getting longer. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to find the best method of making it to where you're not having to listen to a 4-hour episode.
Right.
Not to say that maybe you wouldn't mind a 4-hour episode, but this way it's broken up into easier chunks to digest.
Right. And, some books come kind of pre-structured like that. This book generally, I think it has 3 parts. Right. So theoretically we could have done part 1, part 2, part 3, but
we didn't.
We did the synopsis in a separate episode, so go listen to the synopsis if you've not read Legendborn, because we're not going to talk about plot points.
Correct.
We have picked out discussion topics things we found interesting in the book, and we're going to talk about the magic system, but other than that, general plot, we're not going to go through.
No.
So if you don't know what happens, this is going to not make a lot of sense for you.
Be a little confusing. So hop over, listen to the synopsis episode first.
Yeah, that's an end-to-end.
Yeah, and then come back and listen to the discussion here that we're going to do right now.
Right now. Okay, so I didn't fill in the info about the novel, but this was written by Tracy Deonn and published in 2020, so it's pretty new.
Pretty new, but
it's
so
good.
Great.
And it does have a sequel out already, Bloodmarked. We've not read it, so we...
no worries for spoilers, because we don't have them for you.
Yeah, we don't have any spoilers, but, so yeah, it does have a sequel out. It's very popular on Book Talk. Like, if you go through any book tags on TikTok where people are talking about, like, books that exceed the hype or 5-star books that I read this year, Legendborn always makes the list.
Yeah, I think I watched one the other day
popular.
that it was one of the ones that either lived up to the hype or exceeded the hype. I can't remember. But it was definitely on a positive end of the list.
And I did read that there is potentially a TV network that is picking this up.
Ooh.
As a TV series. So I don't know if that's confirmed or if that's speculation or wishful thinking, but I did read it. I haven't seen in any of the other articles that I read for this book. I didn't see any other discussion. It was just in one spot. So
I think it would be a good one or a very cool one to see, to get to actually see.
Agreed.
I just hope that they stay true to the book, because based on the first episode of Discovery of Witches, I was not impressed on their interpretation.
Yeah.
Even though it was mostly accurate, they were kind of throwing some wild things out there. Don't do this to this beautiful, wonderful, incredibly written book, please.
Please.
It was written impeccably. You don't need to add or detract. Just do.
Right.
Just do the book.
Right. And we all know that history is littered with film adaptations that just do not live up to the standard of the book.
Follow the book or write your own story. That's all I have to say to you.
Yeah, do something. If you're going to adapt the book. If you want to tell a different story,
don't be making wild changes out here.
Go write a different story.
Yeah.
Like, leave it alone.
Yeah.
And
do it as is, because that's the thing that's popular. That's the thing you want to make a book or a show or movie for.
Yeah.
So do the thing.
Exactly. That's what I don't understand about whenever people make film adaptations. Like, the reason why the book itself is popular is because the book is good. And there's a whole bunch of people that love that story as it's written.
Right.
So why would you change it?
You wouldn't, and you shouldn't.
There's no reason for you to change it.
And you 100% better have Tracy a part of this show.
Yeah, for real skis.
And Tracy, please, don't make any changes either. Because Leigh Bardugo, who did the
Shadow and Bone
and Six of Crows, she said, these are not a one-to-one adaptation. This is a universe of its own. I don't know if she said that from the get-go or after season 1 was done, but my friend Ashley, who is full diehard, loves Six of Crows. Like, she loves this book series and stuff, but it was even hard for her to, like, fully wrap her mind around the fact that, like, different things were happening than the books. And she probably accepted it way better than I did, and I'm not even as hardcore a fan as she is, but it just... Yeah, I'm not saying Leigh Bardugo did anything wrong, but I just, again, if you're going to adapt something, at least she came out and said it's going to be kind of a thing of its own. But I just feel like if you're adapting something that is so beloved, like, keep it the same. Unless there's just something that is unable to be replicated on screen.
And then go with the animation.
Right. I was going to say, then don't do it.
Yeah, don't do
it that way. Right. Do it a different way, or don't do it.
I mean, why do we think, like, the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson has never been adapted? It's because the magic system of that book is so unique, and it's not visual. It's internal to the person. So it has to do with, like, metals and stuff. It's very, very cool.
Neat.
Highly
Sorry,
recommend.
My eyes are getting huge. Ooh, because I haven't read these.
Highly recommend Mistborn. I think it's the only Brandon Sanderson I've ever read. So I don't have a comparison, but most people say it's not his best work because it's his first works, which makes sense. But I really enjoyed it. Was it the best fantasy I've ever read? No, of course. Hello, Lord of the Rings. But it's excellent. And I think part of what makes it so good is because it's so unique, the way that he wrote the magic system with, like, the metals and the way the metals, like, it's incredibly unique. But I just don't see any way that could be made into an adaptation. It might even be difficult for it to be animated because how do you demonstrate that there's metals inside of your body and you're using that to, like, propel yourself?
Yeah. Unless you do, like, a 2000s, like, zoom in where you go into the body.
Right. Yeah. It just
and it's like a funky little thing. But,
yeah.
And not every good book needs to be adapted to a movie or show either.
Correct.
Because I made a movie in my brain while I was reading this.
Exactly.
So, you know, do I need a show or a movie? No. Would I watch it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and I think we've seen so many missteps, especially in the fantasy genre, especially.
Yeah.
Even ones that are really successful and really enjoyable, like Harry Potter, like, it was still very serious missteps.
Yeah. Movie and show executives, lean in. Let me just tell you, they don't need your help. They were successful without you.
Yeah.
So just take your paws off a little bit.
Yeah.
Please.
Tracy Deonn, she toiled for years to write this book. She perfected it. Everything about it is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And you don't need to bring in your screenwriters and to change her shit because it's already exactly what it needs to be.
Right. Make it screen friendly. That's it.
Yeah.
Job done.
Tweaks for the screen. That's it. You don't need to add anything. You don't need to take anything out.
No.
Because she did the work.
Right.
And she deserves the proper accolades.
Heck yeah.
God. The studios, they need to know.
Right.
They need to be told.
And I'm sure that they're part of our listener audience, so I'm glad that they heard what we had to say.
Listen, here. We're going to start a campaign, and we're going to start inundating the film studios who handle these types of things.
We'll just
all of them.
Hashtag the crap out of them.
We're gonna target HBO. We're gonna hit Hulu. We're gonna hit Amazon. We're gonna hit whatever other studios there are, and we're just gonna maybe like email bash them.
Pause off.
Excuse me. Please do not mess this up.
Right. I need you to leave it as great as it is already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Once you have finalized the script and you've sent it to Tracy, send it to us.
Yes.
And we will tell you.
Yes.
I'll call Tracy.
We'll support Tracy.
Tracy, what are your thoughts? How does this make you feel?
Yeah.
You know what? Not to gatekeep, but fully to gatekeep. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I guess we'll talk about our characters. Yes. Jumping right in to Legendborn.
Because we're not going to give you a synopsis, but we will go over the characters in this discussion.
We will. First up, our protagonist is Bree Matthews.
Also called Maddie occasionally by her BFF, Alice Chen.
Oh, yeah. We also have Bree's dad, Edwin, and her mother, Faye.
Yes.
Thank you for adding those in.
Yeah. I did Google them because I couldn't remember her mom's name. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, Faye did pass before the book even started.
Yeah. Yeah. You find that out page 1.
Page 1.
So.
Yeah.
There it is.
Not a spoiler. But we do get to encounter her, and I liked her.
I know. I'm sure she was just the sweetest.
Yeah.
Then Alice Chen, BFF, roommate.
Person who tries to push Bree to be her best self.
She does. Also, speaker of the quote we opened with.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And Nick Davis. He is...
Love interest?
Love interest? Yeah.
I mean, he is the first love interest.
He's the
I'm in denial, so he's the love interest.
By the time I got to the end, I jumped the Nick ship and I was fully on the Sal ship.
No! Listen, I like Sal, but I also think that they're allowed to just be friends.
No, I agree,
but
for sure.
But there's a thing about, I understand. Sal, I mean, we've already discussed that we find men with dark hair attractive. He has amber eyes, not green eyes like we like, but still.
He's got the mysterious factor.
Yes, mysterious he's and moody.
Brooding.
Yeah, and is softened by, getting closer to someone. So and there's very attractive quality.
There's a palpable, like electric currents between them.
There's a literal electric current
between them.
We didn't even talk about that.
I know.
Okay, well, we can talk about it here.
Yeah.
I've already said his name, so Selwyn Kane is another character. Mm-hmm. But Nick Davis is not only love interest number 1, but he's also the scion to King Arthur Pendragon.
Yes, he is.
So he's got a little bit of magics of his own.
He's the king.
Well, actually, no, he's not.
Not the king.
And we're not worried about spoilers here.
Yeah, we've already done this.
This is the discussion.
Yeah.
If you're here, spoilers abound. So actually, Nick, who we thought was the scion of Arthur, is actually the scion of
Lancelot.
And his dad's name is Martin Davis, and he's just a piece of poop.
He's the worst. The worst.
He's the worst
in the world. I just think of Jean-Ralphio.
Yep. Love him.
He's the best.
Jean-Ralphio is not in this book.
No.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
So yeah, Selwyn is the king mage, or like the mage to to be the king to Arthur, the scion of Arthur, but at the end of this book, he is still magic bound. We're not sure if he's magic bound still to Nick, or if now he is magic bound to Bree.
Or if he's like free of his oath,
right,
and he's free to take the oath to Bree.
Right.
Not sure.
Right.
Because Bree is the scion of Arthur.
Right. I was going to say, since we're kind of doing this differently, doing the introductions to the characters, we're forgetting that we can be a little more detailed.
Yeah,
here.
We can talk a little bit.
So yeah, Bree is the scion of Arthur. So yeah, we're not sure by the end of the book if Sel is who he's kind of supposed to be the Merlin to, but he is a magical Merlin, part demon man, and he is the potential second love interest.
It is heavily alluded to, I believe.
There is some...
It's palpable.
Yeah, there's some tension, there's some eye looks, but really, Nick and Bree are together, and they express a love for each other that we will definitely dig deeper into. But yes, there is a something with Sel, but she hasn't really entertained it. It's not...
No.
I like that at least they can allude to it, okay, fine, but they aren't having her indulge it.
Correct.
At least not yet, so I kind of like that she's still being very loyal to the relationship that she's developing with Nick. So, and then we'll just kind of go into some of the other scions, which are, just a reminder, the bloodline lineage of King Arthur and his knights are scions. They're Legendborns. So we've got William, who he is a healer, and I believe he's the scion of Gawain. And then we've got Whitty, Greer, Vaughn, Felicity, Sarah, Tor, Russ, Fitz, Evan. There might be some more, but I think those are really the only ones that we interact with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then also we have, so those are all the scions and squires. I don't remember who's necessarily tied to who, and it's not really going to pertain to this discussion because I don't think we're going to talk about them very much.
Yeah, no.
And then we have Bree's counselor and sort of mentor into rootcraft, Patricia. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Mariah who helps in that arena too. But those are really our main players. Mm-hmm. As well as who's the one that works with Martin?
Isaac. He's another Berlin who is betrothed to Martin Davis.
Right.
Nick's dad. I think now we're slated to kind of talk about the world a little bit and how the magic works. Yeah. It's not your typical like magic system. It's a lot different than what you would generally be used to reading fantasy.
Yeah.
So we kind of have like 4 different areas of magic here. So we have the Order, which their magic is technically bloodcraft. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same sort of bloodcraft as Bree's family bloodcraft.
True.
It's sort of different.
Yeah.
Because I think Patricia and Mariah describe the Order's bloodcraft as being stolen
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bree's family's bloodcraft is more bargained.
True. And I don't know that she really makes that distinction. I just feel like Patricia just says blood magic or bloodcraft is a stealing of magic.
Yeah.
Period. I don't think she really says like, oh, but your family,
right,
kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of perceived that bloodcraft has a higher cost because you're just taking magic. You're not making a trade. Whereas with rootcraft, there is a trade. Not only are you kind of borrowing from your connection with your ancestors, but doesn't she also kind of like use herbs and different things that kind of dry up, like they're using the essence of it as well. So you're making a trade while also blending and borrowing from your family line.
And whenever the rootcraft, the only time you have the power is when you're connected to your ancestors. So when that connection is broken, like, and you're going about your day-to-day life, you don't just have power. So you borrow it and use it for the time being, and then you give it back. Whereas like the bloodcraft, it's in your blood, so you can kind of call it whenever with no ancestral connection.
Right. But there is a high cost. It shortens your lifespan. And I think that's the biggest cost, but I feel like there are other ones as well, like just kind of maybe sprinkled, maybe not, but it just seems like your lifespan is the biggest toll paid.
Yeah, so we have bloodcraft, rootcraft, and then the Shadowborn are the demons, and their magic is their own. It doesn't really ever talk about their magic.
Correct.
So, but they are there and they exist.
Yep.
So the order technically uses bloodcraft, but they have a very they have a structure,
like a hierarchy or whatever. So
at the very top, you have the Scions, which are the Legendborns.
The people that their ancestor, their lineage they came from someone who was a Scion, and so forth and so forth. It's not bestowed upon. It's in the bloodline. Yeah. Not just anyone can be a Scion. Like, it has to follow the bloodline.
Yeah. So, the Scions are the highest. And there's kind of like obviously a hierarchy of Scions as well, because there are 13 of them based on King Arthur and his knights.
Right.
So
King Arthur is number 1, and then Lancelot, and then it goes all the way down to whoever the 13th is.
Yeah.
And they get called upon in times of great need or, because of the need of having to fight the Shadowborn.
Right.
But when they're called upon, they go in reverse order. So it'll start with the biggest number, the 13th knight will be called upon first. And that kind of shows like how dire the danger is, how high how high it gets up the ranks. Once you get to Arthur, it's Camlin and all out war.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then each Scion has a sworn squire.
Yes.
That they choose.
Right.
From a group of pages.
Right. You'll start as a page, which is, chosen by a Scion to compete for that next level of being a squire. But not every page chosen gets to become a squire.
Right. So they go through like the selection after their trials or whatever. They go through the selection, and then the Scions get to choose which squire they want.
Right.
And then if the squire accepts, then they're bonded.
And then they share magical ability. Is it only when called that they have those magical? Because Nick can produce like a weapon, so they must have some bloodcraft. They just don't have the next level of power. So they do have a bit of magic. I think they can produce weapons. And,
they can
and they're fighting. I mean, I'm sure that they train for their fighting ability as well. But they do have a bit of magic. I don't know that they really give us much more than it's really battle focused.
Yeah, it's very combative.
But once they're called. Basically, being called means that the knight that you are in the bloodline of is called literally to your body via possession. They aren't necessarily always conscious, but they are called to your body, and then you possess the power that is correlated with them. Like, for William, it's healing is his main power, and then for some of the other ones it's speed, one of the other ones it's, strength and so on and so forth. So each one is, when called, then given an extra specific power.
Yep. And then we have the Merlins, which is what Cell is. Cell and Isaac are the only two Merlins we actually meet on page, but they are part demon, and that's why they can manipulate ether and produce ether, and they use mesmer to haze people's memories and blah blah blah. So that's what they do, and they're bonded to people generally. Like Cell is bonded to Nick as the quote unquote heir of Arthur, so he's his king's mage,
right? And
Isaac is the same for Martin,
right? And then, like you said, Breeze is different, because she can use ether, and I guess can the others not use?
Correct.
Okay, yeah,
because of her bloodcraft.
Yeah. So we discussed this in the synopsis, but Bree's ancestor makes a bargain. She makes a rootcraft deal to then gain access to bloodcraft to keep her and her unborn child, and subsequently the bloodline after, safe from those who would seek them, which would be
the
members of the order.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we talked about in the synopsis as well, the order was primarily white, Caucasian
men. Essentially, yeah. There's and I put it as a discussion point in here, there's a conversation between Bree and Nick where he's kind of telling her a little of the history, and he tells her that it is still really male dominant, because in the beginning, if the firstborn, or who would essentially be the heir, was a girl, they would essentially eliminate her until a male heir was produced.
Which is disgusting.
So that's horrifying.
Yeah. Which, of course, they don't do that anymore. But
sure, yeah. But still, its
foundation is icky.
It's full of the just grossest, and like with Bree and her family, the only reason that she is the scion of Arthur is because her ancestor was enslaved to a scion of Arthur and was assaulted.
Right.
So it's just is horrible.
Yeah.
Essentially. So.
Yeah, that's a scion of Arthur that assaulted her would have probably taken that baby and probably, I would imagine, killed her.
Yeah.
And gotten her out of the picture. And then, I don't know what he would have done with the baby, to be honest. I mean,
I feel like probably would have killed the baby as well.
But he seemed, that's why I couldn't tell, because she said in the flashback that he seemed excited about the pregnancy, I thought.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I'd have to look at it again, I guess. But so I thought he was excited because, it's him and his wife did not end up having a child. Or if they did, that scion went to the first child born. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what his intentions would have been. She just knew that they were going to be bad. And she was like, I'm not going to be at his mercy, and neither will my child or any children following.
Yeah.
Because knowing where they came from, she assumed that they would just probably come to eliminate them.
Yeah.
To regain power over the line of Arthur. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That scene in the book is harrowing, but really powerful. When she's making the deal. Yeah. Especially listening to it on the audiobook. I only listened to certain sections in the audiobook, but that part was really emotional.
It really was.
I don't remember her name, but the actress who did the reading, great job.
Yeah, she was really good. Let me see if it'll actually pull up my library. Audiobooks. And narrated by Janice Abbott Pratt.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah, very good.
I didn't even listen to the whole book, but just from the snippets that I listened to. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Whenever I did the reread before recording this, since I read Legendborn so long ago, I listened to the audiobook and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're at Vassals and the Order of the Rose.
Oh, sorry, I kind of derailed us a little bit.
That's okay. We're not structured in the discussion portion.
Sure.
So also sort of in the order are like vassal families, which is people who they know about the order. Maybe they have like kind of a branch off of a family and they kind of support the order financially, probably donations.
Yeah. And they see it as kind of a trade, like as a chance to maybe become a page, to maybe become a squire.
Right.
And I kind of think of them in like a regular like kingdom. They would be like a courtier maybe. Like they're not royalty, but they have a bit of status within the world. And they're like influential people in the world. So I think they still help the order, and the order kind of helps get them into prestigious positions in society as well. So it's kind of a give and take relationship. They serve the order, and the order rewards them in different ways.
Yeah, essentially. And kind of a branch off of that is the Order of the Rose, which is the women.
Right. Because as you had said, typically back before they stopped killing the female babies, you know, because they wanted the scions to be male, the women didn't really have a place, and that, you know, so for them to be useful, they kind of, that felt gross saying it that way.
Yeah.
But for them to feel like they had a purpose or to help, they had the Order of the Rose,
right? Which
were women that I forget what was the services that they provided.
I don't really remember. I don't know that he talks about the services through the ages, but I think at this point, the like present tense, they kind of put on parties and
very
the events
party,
and yes. And the scene where we actually encounter them is one of the like banquets that is held at the lodge, and they're like older white women coming in, and they think that Bree is the help.
Ugh.
And it's just so cringy, and Nick has to step in and be like, she's my page.
Right.
So.
Right. For them to just automatically assume that.
Yeah.
And Bree does have a moment where she does notice that all the servers at the party are people of color.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's uncomfy.
Yeah, it does put a magnifying glass on moments that are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And really happen to people.
Yeah, and this isn't... It's interesting being someone who is not a person of color reading it.
Right.
Because this isn't something that we likely notice, really.
Right.
Because generally, especially in the Midwest, the spaces that we move in, almost everyone that we deal with day to day look just like us. We don't really experience being the minority in a room, other than, being the only woman in the room. That we experience.
Right.
But it's different.
Right.
In any given place that we go, generally, we're generally the majority.
Yeah.
It's I can imagine that it has to be very uncomfortable to be the only person of color in a room, to feel like you don't have anyone to relate to in that room.
Yeah.
That has to be really difficult. And I feel like the scenes where we're experiencing Bree experience that, I feel like are really great scenes.
They're very well written.
Very well written, and because all of them made me like do the like the hunch, like ooh.
You really feel what Bree is feeling.
Yeah. So, come on, Tracy. I don't know where you learned to write so well. It's just a God-given innate talent, but she does handle all of those like very difficult subjects very well. Like Bree's mom's death and her dealing with that, and just she handles it so well. She
writes emotion very well.
Yeah,
her internal dialogue even.
Yeah, internal dialogue for sure. Super well written. But
even Sal's turmoil, like I don't feel like. Because we've talked about this before, like, there's that character that's, like, moody and mean, and, like, sometimes they push that line between, like, violence and romance and attraction, and she doesn't make it like that. Like, Sel has a bit of a anger issue, gets a little drunk on ether, but I don't think she ever tries to make his flaws seem sexy.
No,
those are things that the characters have to overcome to soften towards each other and then become closer. Yeah. It's not ooh, I want to fix him. It's like hey, you're a dick.
Yeah, I think that's...
And then it's like, okay, we both have a loss of a mother, and that's something that we didn't mention this in the synopsis, but her and Nick also have that.
Loss of a mother, yeah. I forgot that we did not talk about Nick's mom.
Yeah. Which... Damn it. Oh, yeah. That was a big twist, too, but I don't think Nick got to learn about it, really, or, because wasn't there a reveal?
Correct.
Nick didn't ever really get to get the evidence revealed to him.
Yeah, that his mom left. His mom tried to take him and leave. Right. Because she didn't want him to be in the order.
Right. I also wonder if she knew I don't think she did know that he was the scion of Lancelot, not Arthur. Right. She truly thought he was the scion of Arthur, and she didn't want that for him. Yeah. She didn't want his life to be cut short. Right. And I think she saw her husband and knew what he wanted. Yeah. What he wanted Camlin to come. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all three of them, Nick, Sel, and Bree, all have a loss of a mother in very different ways. Mm-hmm. Bree's mother was just a pure accident. Yeah. Well, it was a pure accident, but slightly magically induced because only one person in her bloodline can be...
With the power.
With the power at a time. Yep. Bree became of age of the power, and so her mom died. Sel's mom, actually, I don't even know if she's dead. I think she's alive. I think she's alive. She was physically taken out of Sel's life through lies and deceit.
And framing.
But I think we're going to see her again.
I think she's going to come back up again, honestly.
Because she was the one that was in that vision. She was with Bree's mom. Yes. And that was... we definitely got to talk about that, because that's one of my favorite scenes. It just touched me so much. And
I think she's the one who was keeping up with Bree's mom.
Yeah, I think you're right. But she also was kind of kept away for a while, too.
For a while, yeah.
But, yeah. And then Nick's mom tried to whisk him away, so then Nick was told that she tried to whisk them away, so they wiped her memory of everything. And that his dad wasn't part of that, but I think we find out that his dad was part of that.
I think so,
yeah. Basically, Nick's mom is stripped of every memory of him and the order and everything. Yeah. Simply because she was trying to take him away to protect him.
Yeah, and he was the scion of Arthur, right.
So his mom, I guess, isn't dead either, but she might as well be, because she doesn't know him, isn't aware of him. Yeah. Nothing. So all of them have lost their mothers in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm interested to see how their trio of relationship grows.
I agree. I don't know how it's going to manifest itself, because I think, as the listener has probably already picked up, I fully believe that Nick is first love interest, meaning there is a second. And obviously it's Sel. So how is this dynamic going to work? Is there going to be someone come up that Nick has that sort of magnetism with? And so then it's kind of like a clean sort of break, Or is it there's going to be a lot of resentment and bitterness, but Bree and Nick have to work together because he's Lancelot, and
I would just like to see them succeed. He's the nice guy that's not secretly a douchebag. Like, he truly is a nice guy.
He really is.
And I really love that. If you'll indulge me, I'll read the little passage that she, at the end of the book, that she has to say about Nick, because I just like it. If I can get there. These are the facts. Nick helped me find more truths than I'd known to look for, and now he's the one who's lost. Even though his heritage crumbled beneath the weight of my truths, if it were me in Isaac's clutches at the risk of being hunted by the Morgaines, Nick would fight to bring me home, and so I will fight to rescue him. I don't know if it's our inheritances or our bloodlines or what we forged together all on our own, but I can feel Nick's absence like an open wound in my chest. I love him. Nick is in my heart and I am in his. This is irrefutable, no matter how it happened or when or why, and I won't lose someone that I love again, not when I have the power to save them. I just really like that. And even if they don't stay romantic, I would like to see them stay on good ground. I don't want a nasty fallout because I just feel like their connection is too important and too, I can't even think of the word, but I just feel like their connection is so interwoven that I don't want it to see it go bad just because a romantic feeling is unrequited. Like, I would like to see it, if it does end, I would like to see it end respectfully. And then if she's going to move on to Sel, that's fine. But I think that we have a lot of literature out there where the girl goes for the, like, slightly little bit of, like, bad boy or slight enemies to lovers thing. And I would just like to see lovers to stay lovers. Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I really like Sel, and I
do really like Sel too.
I think I was anticipating her with Sel at some point throughout the story.
Because she locked eyes with him first. Because
the first thing she thinks about him is that he's unsettlingly beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's, like, that weird, like, electricity that she feels whenever he looks at her.
Right.
Like,
and I think when they physically touch as well, right? It's much stronger.
Yes. So that, like, connection that she doesn't have with anyone else just nudged me towards thinking that. And maybe because I was anticipating that is the reason why I didn't feel any sort of, like, letdown at, like, thinking about Nick. Because I do like Nick.
Yeah.
He's so likable.
Right.
That's who he is. But I do always gravitate towards, like, the unlikable character.
Right.
That's just who I am.
I do too, but I just thought it was refreshing. I was like, a nice guy that stayed a nice guy. His dad was secretly the bad guy.
Right.
But he wasn't. And I was like, nice. Because I was, like, half expecting, like, I had my guard up a little bit. I was like, please don't become a Tamlin. That's all I ask.
I know.
So I was glad for that. But you did note that you kind of wanted to talk about the descriptions used for the initial meeting between Bree and Sel. Did you want to dig into that a little deeper? Oh,
yeah. I think really...
I've read my excerpt about her feelings between her and Nick, so...
We're having a crew spat.
This is as bad as our spats get. I think we're good.
Listen, for real.
Because I'm sitting over here defending wanting her to be with Nick, fully knowing that you're very likely right.
This is a burden I have to bear. Predicting books it's like a sport in my brain.
I'm good at predicting shows, but books?
Yeah. It depends, but generally, like, at least certain things.
Right. You have a good mind for it.
Okay, so this is what Bree is thinking when she very first sees Sel. After, like, when she's on the cliff, she's thinking, should I jump, should I not? And he's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. This is his descriptor. He is unsettlingly beautiful. His face is aristocratic and sharp, framed by high, pale cheekbones. The rest of his body is born from shadows. Black jacket, black pants, ink black hair that falls forward over his forehead and curls just below gauged ears, bearing small black rubber plugs. He couldn't be more than 18, but something about his features don't belong to a teenager. The cut of his jawline, the line of his nose. You don't notice that much about someone when you first see them.
What a Mr. Darcy.
Ooh. Yeah.
I concede he sounds like a straight up fox, okay? If I were an 18-year-old girl or an adult, because my husband has long dark hair and his head gauges and is covered in tattoos, so, you know.
Hey.
Sel would be my type.
Yeah. I mean, same. It's really not even necessarily seeing him and recognizing that he's beautiful.
Right.
Because there are so many people that you can look at and be objective and like, that is a beautiful person, but not be like drawn to them necessarily. But just the way that it describes it.
Yes.
She's unsettled by him.
Mm-hmm.
She notices that the rest of him is born of shadows.
Yes.
That just...
Yeah, she has like an intuition about him. She notices characteristics about Nick as well. But
that is true.
But not to that depth.
It feels... Sometimes you read something, it just feels very, like, intimate. Yeah. And I feel like that passage feels very intimate.
Yes.
Kind of like whenever we read Dorian Gray and all of those, like... times Basil talks about Dorian.
Yes.
Just feels so like I'm intruding on this.
And I'm not trying to compare everything to Agatar, but he gives me Rhysand vibes. 100%.
Yeah, he does. I think a little of his like tough exterior is a facade. Yeah. Much like Rhysand. Right. Yeah.
But no, sure. I really like Sel as a character. He has his own griefs and emotional and, you know, maybe literal demons that he's fighting against. Yeah. So I mean, he has a depth and a complication to him, which is always attractive. It's not done in a way where it's like, oh, I can fix him. It's just sort of like they move past their own crap. Yeah. And see each other and start helping each other, and that's what brings them closer, which I like. It
feels very like a camaraderie, sort of, especially at the end, because they both know that they have to find Nick. Yes. And both of them love Nick in their way. Right. And there's even a part where Sel tells Bree that when they were young, he had like an actual crush on Nick.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Because we also didn't talk about whenever she visits Sel in his room to actually go to the Davises. Yeah. And
just because there's so much, we just had to hit the main highlights.
Yeah, but I really like the scene where she goes to his tower and they talk in his room. Yeah. And he's shirtless out of the shower, so obviously she notices, and he's got like tats, right? So of course. Right. And then he like piggybacks her because he like has.
Oh, and they even got he was like that, basically saying like in Twilight, because he had her like scooped like.
Yeah, he was gonna carry her.
Bridle over the threshold, and she's like, nah, like just put me on your back.
I'll piggyback.
Right, and he's like that, basically like Twilight, and she's like, just shut up and do it.
Yeah. So
because he kind of has like fangs too, right?
I think his canines are a little bit. Pointy, yeah.
Or something. Yeah. But yeah, so they even make that reference and like scoff at it a little bit, which I thought you would enjoy.
I did enjoy it, for sure. But yeah, like that scene between them is pretty charged as well. Yeah. Not because he's shirtless, but just because
the emotion of the
scene.
Of what they're uncovering.
Yeah, and he's like in on her secret now. He knows about her mom, and he's helping her essentially, but she also feels a little guilty because Nick was the one who's gonna like find out about her mom.
She wanted to do it with Nick, So, and I thought that it was at least cool that she sort of recognized that.
She does.
And even at the gala, they do have a moment where she even acknowledges like something passes between her and Sel, but not something that they would ever not maybe never discuss, but like
they're ignoring it.
Right.
Essentially, that's like and
it's like I see something, I sense something, but I'm with Nick.
This is
So
we're pushing we're suppressing it.
Right.
And I think in that moment where she's dancing with Sel at the gala, I think there's a part of Nick that sees it too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
but Nick doesn't fly off the handle jealous necessarily.
Right.
Though he does I will admit, he gets a little jerky to Sel. But I really think that he only does that because he thinks Sel is like way out of line in his pursuit of calling Bree a demon and like won't believe who she says she is.
Yeah.
And even though she is hiding some things,
it's not what he thinks. Right.
So all of Nick's anger and aggression are purely like, dude, you're being nuts and I need you
just quit.
To stop trying to kill this girl.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Preach, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really curious about how their little triangle is going to play out because just thinking about it and then it just makes me think of ACOTAR for sure.
Yeah.
Like their little triangle there because, I mean...
I hope it resolves a lot better than that one did though.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, in that one, you have a mating bond, so how you can't deny a mating bond. Like,
yeah. Well, you can if you're... okay, I can't say. Spoiler alert. So never mind. You can. You don't have... It doesn't have to be romantic. You don't have to give into it. Even you can be mates, but not... Because I don't know how far have you gotten book-wise?
Oh, I've read them all.
Oh, you did read them all. Okay.
Yeah.
But for the listeners, I mean, I'm sure maybe, I don't know if you read. I don't want to spoil a whole nother series we'll talk about Legendborn. But there are two characters in ACOTAR that are mates. Mm-hmm. And one of them is like open to it and almost pretty much like really likes the other one. And the other one is like, no.
Yeah.
And I think... that character may actually have feelings for another who doesn't have a mate, I don't think.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know.
Being mates doesn't necessarily mean it has to... There is 100% you have to give into this romantic bond or that you automatically have romantic feelings.
Yeah, but a third party...
Nice. Yeah.
Right, a third party can't deny the mating bond.
True.
So, like, when you have, like, Feyre and Rhysand and their mates, Tamlin can't do anything.
Right. Even though
there's nothing he can do about it.
He has no right to pull them apart.
So, like, if there's clearly some current between Bree and Sel, and I wonder if at one point there's just not going to be any denying it for Nick.
Oh, yeah. Like, Nick might just concede and be listen, hopefully there's no infidelity. Hopefully it's just sort of
see that happening.
I don't see that happening either, the way that these characters respect each other so much.
Yeah.
In a way, in the way that they do. But yeah, I hope it's more of a like it just nothing romantic happens. He just sees their bond become closer and maybe his and Bree's not necessarily lessens, but maybe shifts into something less romantic.
Yeah.
Or something. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean...
they twist on you and sell it. Nick.
I mean, whatever, dude. I would...
You know, Sel had the crush, but...
He did. But
we don't know about Nick. I'm gonna guess not. He probably saw him as an annoying brother in a competition.
Yeah. I think Sel says that he told Nick.
He did?
Yeah. And
I couldn't
Nick
remember.
was like,
I remember
sorry,
the reveal of emotion, but I didn't remember if Nick ever knew.
Yeah, I think so. And Nick was kind of like, sorry, dude, I don't feel that way about you.
Friend zoned, bro.
Yeah. Oof. Sorry. But I guess we
can talk about Bree and Nick's relationship just a little bit and then we can shift. I just feel like they have a very good give and take, very respectful of each other, very protective of each other.
Yeah, they are.
If, one is getting snatched, the other one's trying to save them, or
Yeah.
one is getting injured, the other one's trying to help protect and care for them. I feel like there's a good give and take. It's not, you know, Bree's helpless and and vice versa. Nick's not helpless either. They're both powerful in their own way, and I just feel like they have a good respect and care for each other. So
yeah, I agree.
I like that. I think that they have a pretty good, healthy thing going on.
They do. And also their little like the beginning when after they first meet and she's like first getting into the order and he's like texting her and it's really like cute. Oh, and I like this boy. It just feels very innocent and sweet. And genuine in the middle of like a story that has a lot of heaviness.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit of levity, especially a lot of the themes of this book are, you know, you have to sit in your discomfort for a while, like while as Bree's like learning about her past and how the like practice of slavery is like it's really essentially prevented all of her ancestors from growing up with their mothers. Right. So you have like themes like that are super dark and heavy.
And then just the reminders all throughout campus and order and all that. Yeah. But it's never mentioned between Nick and Bree. It's not like, oh, he's white and she's black. It's for them. It's just about their relationship. Their race isn't mentioned. That's not a topic of race like other parts of the book are. Yeah, she doesn't feel separated from Nick simply because they are different races. Right. So their relationship kind of almost operates a little bit in a vacuum because it feels separate from everything else that's going on, which I think is pretty accurate. Like whenever you like you first meet someone and you like them, especially when you're 16 years old, everything else kind of falls away when you're with them. Yes. So it felt really accurate to experience wise and also gave you a little bit of levity from even when they were in peril. It's like that was the order business, but when it was just the two of them, you got those nice little sweet moments. Yeah, so it was like sprinkled in there really nicely in between having to, you know, go through the Bree's grief, and that's difficult. Yeah. And especially if you have like personal experience with something like that, it's difficult to read that back, and you're living what you went through while you're reading the character go through that. So that's difficult, but it's also really cathartic in a way because it's written so well. So well. And you added this quote, and I thought it was a good embodiment of a lot of the expression of grief. It says, "My mother's life has stopped. Shouldn't everything and everyone stop living too?" Like, that's I mean, just those two sentences are very powerful and a very good sum of how she feels. Yeah, and I think that before she has closure. But I think that feeling is universal, especially if you're losing a parent. Yeah. I remember leaving the hospital after we lost Angel, and it was that exact feeling. Like, we walked out into the parking lot of the hospital. Dakota had come to pick me up, and there was just people walking around, like, doing their everyday shit, like getting gas at Quick Trip. Yeah. And it feels very surreal to be like, my entire world just changed. How are you not affected by this? Right. But they have no idea, right? Because it's yours. Right. So it's like the perfect description of how that feels. Yeah. So. And even as someone outside of that type of grief, it kind of shows you how that cookie cutter sort of response, even as well-intended as it is, can still be empty. Yeah. So you need to become vulnerable too and not just spout something to make yourself feel better, to move on and be like, check, I did the nice thing. Check, I said the thing I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
You know, not that she vilifies necessarily people for doing so, but it does shed a light on it where it's like, sorry for your loss. And you are sorry for that person's loss, but also like Brie, repeats it. She's not lost. She's not lost. She's gone.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes you think about, like, choose your words more thoughtfully. And, like I said, maybe be more vulnerable with a person and just say, like, I want to say something to you that's going to comfort you. And I don't have that, but I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, it's the people's inability to sit in their own discomfort.
Right.
Because that's what it is. Whenever you are face to face with someone who's just been through actual real life trauma, you're uncomfortable. So you're going to say anything to ease your own discomfort.
Right.
So saying that little line, I guess, works in that way when really you could just say, I have no idea what to say.
Right. Or even I think someone goes, that really sucks.
Right.
And she was like bracing herself for, I'm sorry for your loss, and they were just like, that sucks. And she was just like, yeah, it does.
It does. Yeah. So, I mean, we all do it, but it's just, acknowledging.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I just, like I said, it kind of made me really think about that too, and I it sounds silly, but I will be more mindful of how I approach someone who's grieving.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
I feel like she just does such a good job of letting you see into the heart and feelings and minds of people. And it just gives you a different perspective emotionally. And she just writes really well and from different perspectives. And I felt it was very impactful while still being an incredible fantasy book at that. So it hit so many different things. Yeah. And did them all so well.
I know.
It was straight up bliss. But
yeah.
I feel like you had a good handle on the before and after Brie. Did you want to talk about those at all?
I mean, I think before and after Brie it's an interesting element that is really more important for the beginning of the book because she's built the wall inside of herself as a protection, a self-preservation.
And it slips sometimes, even though she's trying really hard.
Yeah. So she's trying to, after Brie is the Brie who comes up in anger and comes up in defense. And she tries to keep her suppressed, but she can't always do that. Yeah. But after she gets her mom's bracelet and the closure and stuff, then she's just Brie. Yeah. But
because I feel like, do you get the sense that she doesn't feel like she's allowed to be before Brie anymore? Yes.
Yeah.
Because this horrible thing happened. So I love the closure and then that resolution, she's like, I'm just Brie now, which is really, really, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the moment with the mom. I would love to just sit here and read you the whole thing, but I just thought it was neat because she sits down a young Brie and is like, okay, I'm going to say these things to you and you're going to be confused, but I'm just practicing on you, but this message is for someone else, which is a little bit of a fib. It is for someone else, but it's just Brie when she's older. Yeah. But I thought even the little interjections of young Brie were like, what? I thought those were it was kind of sad but cute, and just the things that her mom had to say and was trying to tell her. I just thought that scene was super cool. Yeah. I really liked reading it.
I agree. I think it was really, really well done.
Yeah. And like I said, other than sitting here and just reading it to you, I just don't feel like I could fully explain or discuss it. Just that was one of my favorite scenes, and it revealed a lot. And like I said, it gave Brie that closure that she needed. Yeah.
Yeah, that really could have only come, like, from that. Because what she's searching for with the order is answers and also, I don't know, revenge, I guess, or justice for wrongs done.
Yeah.
But in the end, really all she needed was that resolution with her mom.
Right. I think she just needed a connection with her, especially because they were fighting and not really talking before her mom died.
Right.
And so I think she just needed to experience the love from her mom and, like, you know, not have her last memory of her mom be animosity. And so, I mean, obviously she could have worked through her grief the normal way in therapy and all that stuff, but I thought this was just really beautiful, poetic, and, you know, I liked it.
I liked it.
She could have suffered longer into the other books, but again, because we have magic, she was able to have that, like, have a, you know, that meeting with her mom in a way, and I just really liked it. Yeah.
It was a really good scene, and it just, whenever I picture the scene in my head of her, like, sitting down, opening the box with the bracelet, and then the memory, like, coming out, it just, like, felt, I don't know, I could see it in my head.
Yeah.
Like just light coming out.
And then, like, being almost like having that scene, like, almost be projected on, like, kind of like smoke, but be very clear and just kind of,
Very cool. So another word to the studios who hope to make this into a show. If you fuck this scene up, like, you fucked the whole thing.
We'll be so upset with you.
That's when you're really going to get inundated with the emails.
Right.
So just fair warning.
Right. And so we've got that memory, but then I thought all the memory walking was really cool too.
Yeah.
Even so, though some of the scenes were horrific and sad, like, I just thought that that use of magic was cool. That connection with other people in the lineage were cool. And even like her time walking or memory walking with Patricia's family, because I guess we didn't really say that in detail in the synopsis, but, like, Patricia kind of shows her memory walking with her ancestors first, since Bree doesn't have a connection with her own.
Right.
And Bree's magic affects how Patricia's memory walking works, because usually memory walking, they aren't other than the one that's, like, pulled you in, right? They're not aware of you. You're just there to watch it as it happens. Whereas Patricia's first ancestor brings Bree into this first scene, and that was the scene where they were doctoring that woman that had been whipped. And then someone else in the memory turned their attention to Bree, and Patricia's like, that doesn't happen. And they pulled Bree deeper, and Patricia was kind of sent back or whatever. So she brought Bree to that memory of then the woman having the Crossroads child, and then another ancestor grabbed Bree and took her even further back. And then that one was the gate. The gate.
Yeah.
So I just thought it's cool magic, and then I liked that Bree's magic even affected how that normally works.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was cool that Bree's marriage of these two different types of magic that should not blend was powerful enough, or just, I don't know, I just like that it has an effect on other magic in unexpected ways. I just thought it was super cool.
It is very cool. Very cool for sure. And a branch off of, like, the memory walking is the, like, ancestral connection that they have with, like, through the ages of a family.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bree's isolation from her family is a direct result of the actions of Samuel Davis in his attack on Vera, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that Tracy Deonn is really using this to illustrate the ways in real history that the practice of slavery did literally deprive people of their own intergenerational connections.
And I think Bree even says that.
Yeah.
How a lot of people don't have, like, a book of
full generations.
Yeah, like what do they call those? Family trees and stuff like that. Like, they were scattered and just so they weren't able to have those connections and look back and have records and all that stuff. And what a horrible travesty that is.
Yeah, because it is a ripple effect. People still look at their family line only goes so far back that they can trace. Yeah. And then beyond that, they have no idea. Of course, you could do 23andMe and all this, but I mean,
that connection is important to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's who you are, at least part of who you are. So
yeah.
The way that she uses the magic and the memory walking and Bree's family to make that point is really beautifully done for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And even the way that she describes rootcraft and bloodcraft, and how kind of Patricia is bloodcraft is usually colonizer magic, I think is what she called it.
She does.
So I thought the description was really interesting, and it just furthers that illustration that you were kind of talking about. Mm-hmm. It says, power taken, not returned, incurs a debt, and the universe and the debt will always come to collect one way or another. So it's like bloodcraft. It's it talks about the taking, and especially talking about it being colonizer magic. That's what colonizers did. They took.
Yeah.
So, whereas the rootcraft was really based in making connection with your family.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Just another way she illustrated that, just between the two different magics even.
Yeah.
And letting Bree be a blending
the two.
Of them both.
Yeah.
And how that blending occurred in that woman's desperation and just.
Yeah. And also, I think that also illustrates people in today's society, because now we're so many generations past the colonizing and all of the atrocities that happened then and through slavery and all of that. We're so many generations past it now that a lot of people alive today are a blend of both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
So she's doing some work here.
Yeah. No, again, from the fun and the magic to the grief and the sorrow and all the historicals, she wrote everything so well and made this whole world so rich and understandable, and you could feel it from whatever character she was giving you at the moment. So good.
Yeah. It's crazy. Before I read it, I had been seeing it on TikTok, and it was super, even then, it's hyped a lot now still, but even then it was really hyped, and I was like, can this be that good?
Yeah.
Because obviously everyone says this is YA, because especially on TikTok, a lot of people who are reading fantasy are reading just
sauce,
fantasy smut. Yeah, that's what they're looking for. So people have to come with that disclaimer, this is YA, that you're not going to find any of that here.
Right. So
I knew it was YA in my thought, not that YA can't be good, but I just thought, am I gonna enjoy this that much?
When you think of YA, does your brain automatically think Twilight or something?
No.
Or that caliber of story?
I don't.
Do you think that's your hesitation?
I don't know.
Not dogging on Twilight, guys.
I am.
It's a guilty pleasure movie marathon for me, so.
I've only ever seen the
I'll
first.
fully put it out there. Yeah.
You know what? I just realized that I have a bad habit of only watching the first films of things. I only watched the first Fantastic Beasts. I only watched the first of the Hobbits. Listen. And I only watched the first Twilight.
Especially for Fantastic Beasts, the first one is the best. But Jacob Kowalski is such a treasure that I will trudge through the other ones just for him. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. But yeah, no, hey, just like the first episode of Discovery Whit, you either feel the vibe or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why make yourself suffer?
That's true. And see, at least with Fantastic Beasts, it's not a book series, so I have literally no connection to it. I have no I have no dog in the race.
Right. And even that had some wild things in it that I was like, I think you're breaking the rules of the magic system that was made in Harry Potter, but
I felt like that watching the first one, honestly.
And JK, I think, was like part of the writing team and stuff, so I'm very confused.
That's so disappointing. Joe, come on. Joanne. I just pretend like those don't exist. They're not canon for me, so I just... Cursed Child is also not canon.
Oh,
so,
my.
Me. Tossing all of that
This is not a Harry Potter talk.
No, it isn't.
Let me tell you. Did you read Cursed Child?
No.
Don't.
It
has... no. Just no.
Yeah.
It probably is a musical. It's enjoyable. But reading it breaks so many rules of time turners. It turns Harry into a douchebag dad, which I don't think that he would be. I know every person has their bad day, but that, and then what they do with like Ron and Hermione's relationship, I don't buy it. So get out.
Mm-hmm.
There's like maybe one cool thing like near the end or something, but like no, just no, not canon.
Yeah.
I will shoot it out of a cannon into the ocean, never to be seen again. Yeah. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I bought the book. I have it sitting in the back of my cabinet. I'm waiting to use it for a craft of some kind. I just haven't decided what yet.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry.
Nope. I reject it. But yeah.
You should reject it. I clearly rejected it a little too wholeheartedly.
It just, whenever we experience the characters for so long and then you are given something so many years later that comes out so long afterwards and it just makes these characters into people that they're not. It just, it's a big fat no from me.
Unacceptable.
So, yeah, it's not canon. It was not written by Joanne. So I know that her name is on it, but it was written by playwrights.
Right.
So it was not written by her, and so I reject it. Sorry.
Right.
Not
and
sorry at all.
And even doing the Fantastic Beasts, I mean, we can't even say, like, what producers decided, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, so I can't blame her for all the, quote-unquote rule breaking. And, I mean, if she made the world, then she can change rules as she sees fit. there were some inconsistencies that irked me, but I did like the first Fantastic Beasts. The other ones just get a little wild.
Yeah.
Storyline wise, it's not as cohesive. There are bright spots for sure, especially in the last one. There was a new character that I really liked. I forget her name, but she was delightful. And then, as I said, Jacob Kowalski, treasure forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I threw in the towel after the first Hobbit because...
You already knew it wasn't going to follow the book.
Yeah, it was completely different, and it was not The Hobbit, so why do I need to watch the rest? And the first Twilight, I hated.
Yeah.
I read all of the Twilight books because I'm not a quitter.
Right.
When it comes to books. Movies, clearly I am.
I will say, I think we need to at least watch this one scene in the last movie. Because it's so sick. And I won't make you watch any more of it.
If we ever decide to actually read the Twilight books for the show, then I will watch the movies.
Nice. The painful face she made, you guys. I wish you could see it.
What's weird is a book is so much more of a time commitment than a movie, but I have no qualms in rereading books that I know I do not enjoy.
You can probably more easily forget a jumble of words that you didn't enjoy than forgetting images that were blasted into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. But
because you can just replace those words in your brain with new words from a new book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there's also a little bit of like a hate read that I have in my heart sometimes too. There's like the satisfaction of experiencing it again and like just reaffirming that I'm not just being ridiculous.
Yeah.
This really is that bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just reconfirming.
Right.
Like when I found out that Tom Barber used to be the front man of Lorna Shore, like old Lorna Shore I've never liked. I didn't know any of the members of that band, but Dakota's always liked them.
Yeah.
And for the longest time I was just like, I don't really, that doesn't sound like what I like to listen to when it comes to metal.
Right.
And so when he first joined Chelsea Grin after they like kicked out Alex Kohler, and I'm an Alex Kohler girly. So when they like shafted him and Tom was their new frontman, I was like salty.
Yeah.
And then I found out that he was the lead singer of Lorna Shore back in the day. I was like, justice.
I knew I didn't like
this fool. That I didn't prefer him. I knew it. So
I don't like this guy.
It's that sentiment. And he also looks like, no, I'm not trying to be vain, but he looks like Gollum. Okay? He looks like Gollum after he's spent just a few years under the Misty Mountains, but not all the years. You know what I mean? He's still got, like, the hair still. He's not fully, like, wispy, but...
I'm gonna have to look up a picture of this guy.
Maybe it's just me.
Oh
I'm just being a brat.
Calling a real person saying that they look like Gollum, like...
I know.
I'm so sorry, sir, if that is true.
That's a true nerd insult right there.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. You look like Smeagol turning into Gollum.
Yeah. How long have you lived under the Misty Mountains?
Are you mid-transformation?
That's I'm just saying.
I really think that one is perfect because it's subtle. It's like, how long have you been under the Misty Mountains? I like that. That might be my new one.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
I love insulting people with literature.
Was there any other topics you wanted to touch on that we didn't?
I don't think so. I think we touched on all of, like, the majors.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we could give our, like, final thoughts and maybe a prediction.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. I gave this a 5 out of 5. Obviously. I loved the whole thing. It's has depth and levity, and it's happy and sad and everything. It captures every human emotion that exists and does it expertly.
Yeah.
The magic is very cool and unique, and I love an Arthurian legend.
Yes.
It's always enjoyable, so you get a little bit of familiarity in this brand new world, which also is cool.
Yes.
So just everything about it is excellent, and if you haven't read it and you've listened all the way to thus far, first of all, what are you doing? That's silly, but go back and read it for sure.
Absolutely.
It's a rereader, hands down. I mean, I've already read it twice, but...
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go listen to the audiobook now so I can see. Because something this full requires multiple reads to fully understand. But I let you go first, one, because I knew you were going to say everything perfectly, and two, because I agree 100%. So, and I already said throughout, I gushed.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 5 for me. Ditto everything Maddie just said.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty clear through both the synopsis and this that we really loved this one.
Yeah.
And this might be, actually, this is the first one that's not a Harry Potter that we both gave 5 out of 5 on. I think most of the other books we've given different scores.
Yeah. I think The Hobbit, did you give it 5 out of 5 or did we both do like a 4.5?
I think I gave it a 5.
I can't remember. Yeah. I think I was torn between the two because I was like, it's a 5, but I remember there were moments where I was like, all right, already.
Yeah.
So I mean, very easily.
Yeah.
That could be.
I think
a 5 for me, but I think I did give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I think
should have been like a 4.75.
Right. Freaking Goodreads, come on.
I know. I don't need a 4.81. That's ridiculousness. But quarters.
Yeah.
Give me some
come
quarters.
on. Or just let people type them in.
Yeah.
Just let me put a number in.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. But I think whenever I think of The Hobbit, I rank it with, I feel like the whole story from The Hobbit through Return of the King is a 5 out of 5. And so I'm always going to give them all 5s.
Absolutely.
And then, but whenever you rank them in their own hierarchy, you have your favorites.
Right.
Just like Harry Potter.
I felt like a fraud giving it a 4.5. I was like, I don't know. I feel bad about it, and I really feel like it should be a 5. I just felt like that was my truth at the time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But, like I said, it could easily be a 5. But, you know, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter notwithstanding, this is our first.
This is our first 5. Yeah, because you always knew that those other ones were 5s.
Right.
Yeah, this is our first 5. Mm-hmm. This is a collective, unanimous.
Well-deserved.
Yeah, 10s across the board. Tracy, you talented lady.
Please keep writing.
Oh my God, please.
Is the 3rd one out yet?
Mm-mm. I don't know if there is a 3rd one. I don't know if this is just a duology or if it's like going to be longer. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean...
What is your predictions besides
Selwyn?
Yeah.
It's very hard to say. Obviously, we're going to get Camlin. That's clear. Mm-hmm. I'm just really... I know there are a few things we know, and obviously it's 1 is Camlin and 2 is Selwyn's mom is going to pop back up.
Yes, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that.
And I'm wondering if Nick's mom is going to come back up, because we've already seen Bree heal Alice from memory loss.
So she could. I thought that while we were talking about it, I wonder if she could restore Nick's mom's memories.
Right. So are we going to get? So we've already got like Bree's had her connection to her mom restored. Mm-hmm. She's gotten resolution and closure, and she feels at peace. I am hoping that we're going to get that for Sel and Nick too.
Yeah.
So we started the book Motherless, and hopefully by the end of the story, however many books there are, we everyone has at least the truth of their mothers.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. And it just dawned on me, while they all have a similar loss of their mother, or some sort of loss of their mother, they all have different relationships with their father. Selwyn doesn't know his. Nick's is obviously a jacked up.
Yeah.
And then Breeze is really
a great father. Yeah.
And
loving and
incredible.
Such a good guy.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting. But I would like to see the mother resolution for the 2 boys. Mm-hmm. I would like to learn more about the Merlins and how I feel like maybe the book said more than maybe I caught, but I would like to learn more about like the demon blood in the line of Merlins. Mm-hmm. And, like, just more information about that.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, I can't wait to see Sel's mom come back in. I hope she's not crazy like they say, or, like, part of the Morgaines. Or maybe I wonder if the Morgaines will actually... I mean, I doubt it, but I wonder if they actually won't be bad, but they'll be, like, a separate sect that's trying to stop the Order. Mm-hmm. Because the Order, like Nick's dad, was trying to... Force Camlin or something. Mm-hmm. I just kind of, I wonder, I feel like we're going to obviously see the Morgaines, and I can't wait to kind of learn more about them to see if they really are bad or not. Yeah. And I thought that was cool too, because the Morgaines are like Morgana from the Arthurian legend. So.
Yeah. I'm interested to see that for sure. Yeah. And I think it's going to be like just continuing to unravel. Yeah. And it's going to be just really, really cool. And I also am interested, I think one thing that Sel's mom coming back into the story, what she's going to show us is, do Merlins actually go like insane without an oath?
And probably not.
And I think I think it's
keep them on leash.
Yeah, it's kind of hinted at towards the end that maybe the oath is really just to control their power.
Agreed.
But so I think we're gonna get some confirmation of that too.
As many reveals as we got in this book, I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
We're just getting started here.
I am wondering if it just dawned on me that perhaps Bree and Sel's like way, like a window to being together is like Nick is lost in battle or something.
Ooh, maybe Nick dies?
Maybe.
You know what? I am not opposed to a main character death.
Yeah. It just struck me.
It would be horrifying if Nick died, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that dark crap came from me.
I'm trying to think back to Arthurian legend, and I'm trying to think if Lancelot dies to save Arthur in Arthurian legend.
I don't remember.
That would be wild if Nick dies to save Bree, Lancelot for Arthur.
Does he? Because Lancelot and Guinevere run away, but does Lancelot come back and then to fight and then he dies?
I know that Arthur and Lancelot have fight.
Yeah.
There are some knights that are with Lancelot, and then Arthur has his knights and they fight. Yeah. But I don't know.
I've even seen the musical and I just don't.
Well, there are different accounts of Arthurian legends, so some of them say different things too. Mm-hmm. Damn it. I'm going to look this up. I have to know. Where are you, Internet?
Googling. And we've already twisted the Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot thing in its head, so.
It is. Lancelot's first death was a sacrifice after he made a promise to Guinevere to protect Arthur.
Boom skis. So he did come back to protect Arthur. My brain is better than I thought.
Ew. Oh, no.
Prepare your hearts, folks. But she'll probably do something unexpected, just like she did with having Bree be Arthur.
Yeah.
What if you lose Sel? Will you riot in these streets?
Maybe. I think Guinevere dies too in the story at some point. Or nope, she becomes a nun and joins a convent.
After Lancelot's death.
After her and Lancelot are exposed.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, her and Lancelot don't actually go and be together separate from them.
Once they're called out, they're like, ooh.
Yeah. She's very penitent. I'm trying to remember. It's in the story of Tristan and Isolde. I think Isolde dies. And Tristan also dies.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch that movie. I was like, nah.
I have the book over there somewhere, or over here.
I could tell somewhere. It was sad, and I was like, no.
It's very sad. It's very sad. Which, interestingly, the story of Tristan and Isolde is what inspires the movie Legends of the Fall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember what the love interest in Legends of the Fall's name is, but she's married to his brother.
Right.
And she's in love with Tristan because
Is that what happens in Tristan and Isolde?
Yeah, well, it's very Arthurian because Tristan is he's not a knight for the king, but he was raised by the king because his father was killed when he was a very young boy, and so he's been brought up. He's this really great warrior, and the king sends him to this tourney, and the prize for the man who wins the tourney is Isolde as his bride, but he's there representing the king. So Tristan wins Isolde for his king, but when he sees her, he recognizes her as he was wounded in battle months previous, and she had nursed him back to health. And so he has just won this woman whom he is in love with for his king.
Ah. Ooh.
His king who raised him as a son.
Oh.
So.
That's awful.
It is. It's lovely to read, though. And the movie's very good, too.
Is it?
I loved the movie.
Doesn't it have...
Yes. Franco.
Franco. I was like, not Frankie.
Yeah. James Franco is Tristan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's a really good movie. I love a period piece. But the book is also that whole story is very good. It's super Arthurian. It's very King Arthur, Lancelot, Guinevere.
But sad.
Yeah, sad.
Which I know Arthurian legend is also sad, but
yeah, I know.
I don't know. I can't rectify the two statements of I love Arthurian legend stuff. I don't like sad things though.
Yeah, It's hard.
But, you know.
I just had to lean in. Everything, all of my favorite things, for the most part, are just a little sad.
Yeah.
Like, Harry Potter is sad at the end.
True.
My favorite character dies.
Right.
So that's sick. Game of Thrones is just a depressed fest.
Right.
Start to finish.
Right.
So, but
there's got to be
it's
balance
so good.
for me. There just needs to be some balance. If there's balance, great. If it's just sad to be sad, goodbye.
I think what balances the whole A Song of Ice and Fire series is there are not really moments of levity. And there's not a ton of overtly happy things. But I think the reason it doesn't feel too heavy-handed is because of the fantasy elements, like the dragons and the dire wolves that the Starks have. I think that is the balance.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never, though, it's not like in Harry Potter where you actually get actual pockets of joy. There aren't any.
Your joy is seeing cool creatures.
Yes,
that is
it. That's it. It sounds so. It's so hard to describe, but it's just. I think the reason it's so good is because one, it is well written, but also reading something that full. It's hard to find that anywhere else. A world that just feels so full.
Yeah.
So, anyway, here we are. At the end, we will do Blood Marked at some point in the future. I think I had it on the list, but not until next year.
We might pop it in sooner. We'll see.
Yeah, we're making changes as we see fit,
right.
So.
But the next book is going to be Fellowship of the Ring.
What?
When she mentioned when we were talking about Lord of the Rings and Hobbit earlier, I almost started talking about the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, and I was like, nope, save it. So that's the next book.
Yeah, excite. Mucho excite.
Yes.
So you be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And, rate us, review us, send us an email.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Legendborn? I'm sure that most, if not all of you, are going to have the same reaction that we did.
I would hope so. It's excellently written.
So good. Let us know about that. All the tunes and artwork are a full collab of the WRB.
Yep. We too, the WRB crew.
That's going on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So.
Until next time, have more than you show, speak less than you know, and read books.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.